So let me show you exactly which tools and supplies you're gonna need to get this job done. So obviously the first thing we're gonna need are some new brake pads. So whatever brand you like, these are Bendix, pretty affordable, but they seem to do the job quite well. So brake pads. Special tools, you're gonna need a rear disc brake tool set or toolkit. You can buy these on Amazon for about 20 or 30 bucks. Again, there'll be a link below for this one. You can also go to O'Reilly or AutoZone and rent one for free. So both are good options. If you're gonna do a bunch of these, I say just buy it. If you don't mind or you don't do it very often, just go rent it. But a rear brake toolkit is necessary for this. In terms of specific socket sizes, you're gonna need a 21 millimeter, and then you're gonna need a 7 millimeter hex. You're gonna need a ratchet, so 3/8 extendable for me works pretty well. That's enough to kind of get anything tight off, but also small enough to fit into tight to reach places. And then a torque wrench that goes up to at least 80 foot-pounds and as low as 20. So this is a 3/8 one that does both of those. So a torque wrench is important for getting the correct torque. So one of these. Then some brake parts cleaner to get everything nice and clean. You're typically gonna need some sort of adjustable wrench to go along with your rear brake toolkit. So an adjustable wrench is a good thing to have on hand as well too. Then you're just gonna need your general stuff for lifting a car. So floor jack, jack stands, wheel chocks, all that good stuff, just to make sure you can get your car off the ground safely. So that's everything you're gonna need to get this job done. Let's go ahead and head over to the car and show you how it's done. All right, now before we get the car off the ground, we're gonna wanna loosen up the lug nuts just so that's a little bit easier rather than having the wheel spin on us while we're working. So we're gonna go ahead and use a 21 millimeter socket and we're just gonna loosen them up. We're not gonna take out the lug nuts just yet, but get them loose and then we can lift the car. Now we want to chalk off our wheels, both front and rear on both sides. So here is the rear jack point. It's going to be this flat part right here on the back between the two wheels. See here, the control arm. It's going to be this flat point right here. We're going to put our floor jack right there using a hockey puck, and then we'll lift both rear wheels at the same time. All right, now we've got our jack stand here underneath the pinch weld. You can tell the pinch weld by these two little dimples right here, which are on the rail right here, which show us that this is the reinforced area. Got my jack under here. I have one of these pinch weld adapters, which kind of protect your pinch weld from getting all marred up from being used as a jack point. So I like those. Link it down below. And now we can go ahead and put it on the other side and then lower the car onto it. And then for just a little bit of added safety, I'm gonna leave the floor jack under the jack point, just a little bit of pressure on it, just so that if one of the jack stands were to fail, this is gonna save me. So now before we get under the car, we're gonna give it a nice solid push, just to make sure it's not going anywhere from the back, from the side, from the front, just make sure that's safe to get under it. All right, now we can remove our wheel the rest of the way. All right, then I'm gonna remove the wheel. And just for a third layer of safety, I'm gonna put it underneath the car just in case this jack stand were to fall. This is gonna buy me a little bit of time at least to get away from the car. All right, so now there's two of these little kind of rubber like cylinders here with a little cap on the end. These should kind of just come off with your hands. Like that. Looks just like this. And then there's one more on the bottom right here. And then a 7 millimeter hex is gonna go into here, and we're just gonna loosen these off. All right, and here's one of your slide pins. Set that to the side. Like so. Now we're gonna go ahead and put down the park brake so that we can freely rotate the brake in the rear. Like so. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and remove this clip right here. I'm just gonna use these needle nose pliers. Like so. And that's your brake hardware for the rear, this clip. Now we can go ahead and remove the caliper here. Just gonna wiggle this out of the way. Oops. Okay, there we go. And here is our rear brake caliper, and we're just gonna tuck it out of the way like so. We don't want it hanging by the brake hoses, so just find somewhere. If you have like a clothes hanger, you can hang it off something. If you have the actual hook, that works well for this, but you just don't want it hanging. So I'm just gonna tuck it out of the way like that. And then we have our old brake pads here, which we're just going to pull off like this. Take a look at how worn they are. These are actually pretty worn, so it's a good thing we're getting these done. So you can see the rears and the fronts, or the back side and the front side. So pull these out. So now we need to compress the piston of the caliper back in order to accommodate the newer brake pads. With this specific style, you need to kind of rotate as you are pushing. And so what you're gonna need is a specific tool. I'll put a couple of options down below in the description. Let me show you what I'm gonna use today. So I'm gonna use this disc brake caliper tool from OEM Tools. I find that this set works really well. And basically you have different adapters with different numbers of pins. Ours is a 2-pin. And you'll have to kind of just figure out which one works specifically. I believe it's gonna be this K1 if I'm not mistaken. And then you're just gonna use this in order to compress the piston. I'll show you how to do it. But before we do that, let's head over to the engine real quick and do one small step to ensure this is done properly. It's always a good idea when you're recompressing the piston, because it's gonna build up hydraulic pressure, it's a good idea to just open up the brake fluid reservoir, because we're gonna get some, air bubbles, and we're gonna get some pressure buildup here. So just leave it open like this. Maybe put a rag underneath it in case you catch any spills or you have any spills. But this prevents any sort of pressure buildup within the system that might cause some damage. Sorry, now we're gonna take our tool here. We have just the standard 2-hole or 2-pin connector at the front, and then we have the plate here on the back, and we're just going to and make sure that the pins line up with the holes. And then once we're lined up there, we're gonna start turning our tool, and it should start to compress the piston. And then it'll sort of get to the point where it won't turn anymore, and that's when you know that the piston is fully compressed. Okay, so now that we have the piston fully compressed, we'll take an adjustable. We're just going to loosen this off by tightening, actually. And that should release the tool. And now we can reinstall our new brake pads. All right, now we can go ahead and install our new brake pads. So you don't want to touch the actual braking surface with greasy hands. So you want to be careful not to do that. And we're just going to place them in here. You could, if you wanted to, put a little bit of brake caliper grease kind of on the ears right here. I'm actually gonna do that real quick, but first let me show you how they go in. There's one, and here's two, like this. So we're just gonna put a little bit of grease just here where it makes contact. Just a bit right there, a bit right here. Again, being very careful not to get any on the actual braking surface. Just gonna smooth that out a little bit. There goes the inside one. Do the same thing. Again, being very careful not to get any grease on the braking surface. All right, now we can take our caliper and we can slide it over the brake pads like so, and it should fit nice and loose because we recompressed that piston. All right, so now we're gonna take our caliper slide pins, clean them off a little bit, and then we're just going to re-grease them with some brake parts lubricant. And just a little bit goes a long way. They don't need to be super greasy, but just a little bit to lubricate the slide. And then we're just going to stick them through here. And then we can get them tightened back on with our 7mm hex. I'll get this one started. Then I'll get the bottom one, again, with some grease on that. Slide it through here. Torque spec is 18 to 22 foot-pounds. I set it at 20 to be right in the middle. 1, 2. Let's give the rotor just one last clean with brake cleaner just to be completely safe, that we have no grease on there. Don't forget your little plastic caps. They're just gonna squeeze right on like this. 1, and then 2. All right, now we need to install our new brake hardware. So the spring is really the main thing here. So I like to sort of get it in one, and then into the second hole, and then just like that. And that's it. As long as it's kind of sitting flush and flat up against there, we should be good to go. Just like that. Put our lug nuts back on. You always want to get these started by hand so that you're not cross-threading. So make sure you get a few threads on. All right, now we're just gonna get these snugged up. We don't need to go super tight because we're gonna torque it when it's on the ground, but I'm just gonna snug these up. I'm gonna do this in a little bit of a star pattern. Now we can go ahead and lift the car up again and remove the jack stands, drop it on the ground, and then we'll torque it down the rest of the way. All right, now we can slowly lower the car back down. Go ahead and torque these lug nuts down to spec. I believe it's 80 to 108 foot-pounds, so I'm kind of in the middle of that. And again, we want to go in a sort of star pattern, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or something along those lines. Just make sure that it's evenly torqued to the hub. Three, and 5. So now we're gonna go ahead and we can close off the brake fluid reservoir. You can see here that the level did rise a little bit, so you could siphon out a little bit just to be safe. I'm done, so I'm just going to close it off here, and that should be good, but just make sure that it's closed off before you drive anywhere. So that's how you do the rear brakes on a Gen 2 Mazda 3. Before we're done though, we gotta do one last thing, which is we wanna bed in these new brakes. There's a variety of videos online on how to do this, but the general gist of it is that you're gonna take the car out for a drive, kind of get up to 40 to 50 miles an hour, slow down to about 20 or less, do that about 5 to 10 times, not jamming on the brakes too hard, just kind of an even, consistent brake. Then you're gonna do about 5 harder stops from 50 down to about 10 to 20 miles an hour, and then you're gonna drive for maybe 5-10 minutes without touching the brakes if you can. It's hard to get this done exactly depending on where you live, but general idea is you wanna take it kind of easy on your brakes for the first 20 to 30 miles, and then they should be bedded in where the braking material sort of works its way onto the new rotors. So thank you guys for watching. All of the links for stuff I use is gonna be down below in the description. Hope the video is helpful, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later.